both of them came out last week without a win. Bit tough and a little bit different in terms of storylines on either side, but today they're guaranteed. One of them is guaranteed a win, and you want to be going into week 3 at least with 1 win underneath your belt. We talked about the stakes for Apeks here. They want to make champs, they want to stay in this league, they don't want to go down to Ascension. But for Navi, Billy, they have to reclaim that throne. It feels like it's been so long since we've seen them consistent and we've seen them as a dominant force in EMEA.
I mean, they were consistently not making international events
No,
Billy, not to be that person. Yeah. But yeah, I think as well, when we look at this head-to-head with this matchup, when we look at the actual group that they're in as well, this should be arguably both of their easiest matchup, right? It should be the one where it could go in either way. And perhaps if Apeks didn't have that performance last week, maybe I would have said Navi should be absolutely taking this one. It should be their easiest game throughout the whole group. So for both teams, this game really could decide who ends up going to playoffs and who doesn't.
Oh, 100%. And of course, I don't think anyone has ever underestimated Navi in the history. And we're getting to a point that it's an upset. I can smell an upset. We're on the precipice of maybe Apeks being able to pull something off here. But let's take a look at the map vetoes in just a moment. We do have some new maps. I know you guys kind of suffered a little bit over there on Team Liquid. But here, last week, Navi decides to ban the Ascent. And they banned the Ascent again. I am lost for words.
Very many questions. I mean, Navi, they played this map so much last year as well, and it's something that they looked decent on. However, last week they decided to insta-ban it. They've decided to insta-ban it again this week, which, considering Apex's performance last week on it, not a total surprise. And Apeks coming in with that fracture ban again, that's the insta-ban that they've had so far. But I think for me, if we do get to that split eventually, I'm so excited to see what the teams have cooked up, because they didn't play this in kickoff at all, either of them.
No, I'm a little bit upset though that Apeks banned Icebox to go to split. We might not see that Waylay. Hasn't had the highest win percentage, but still I think Floor was tremendous on it. But let's talk about this Lotus. Kiko, I don't know how much you know about the map pools of both of these teams. Are you surprised that we're going Lotus first, or?
I'm not too sure about that.
No, you're not too sure? But do you remember Navi's Lotus at all? They ran a wacky comp before. They had some...
It was disgusting.
What comp was it?
They were... Billy will give you a bit of a rundown here because
honestly,
they were...
Kiko, they had a Teho, they had an Astra, they had a Vise, they had a Sage, and an Omen.
Sage?
Yeah, it was a Koala
Sage. And it was a Koala noob Sage.
No duelist?
No.
Yep.
That might be a bit troll.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but let's take a look and see what we're going to get now this time around. And it looks like we got Hero of Rays! Sorry. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. Billy, what do you make of this?
I was going to come to you because you're holding your head, Kiko.
Yeah, Kiko's
I'm pretty sure I remember playing against this in practice, to be honest.
Oh, did it go well?
Huh?
Did it go well? Was it fun?
Yeah, it was an interesting game for sure.
Oh,
okay. I'm pretty sure I played this. I'm not sure.
Do you have a preference in comps looking at what we have now?
I definitely prefer the Apeks comp.
The meta one? Yeah,
definitely. I think that it's Teho Breach is super powerful in this map, and I think that Viper is also super strong on this map as well. I just want to see how much value Koala can get on the chamber. I think that's going to be super important. Like how deep lines he can get into the spawn. I think that, I mean, it's just dependent on the op, and yeah.
I think for me, when I look at Navi, I was slating them before for running that double sentinel and not really being able to find much value out of it. You know, the way in which they were utilizing the Sage wall, they couldn't go and re-clear any space when they were on their defense, or kind of figure out where their opponents were, creating question marks across the map. So when I look at Koala Noob on the chamber, and this being their solo sentinel, that's again where I'm starting to get a little bit confused and kind of trying to figure out, you know, what is the motive behind this composition and what do Navi want to do with this?
And we've never seen Floor play Yoru on Lotus either. A lot of exciting things coming into this. Thank you very much, Kiko, for joining us. And it's time for me to toss this over to your casters. Have fun with this one, Mitchman and Tombiz.
Thank you so much, Yinsu. It's time to get into the game. Navi, I understand the thought process. You lose 13-6 to a Harbor, you got to shift up the comp, but been a little while since we've seen the chamber brought out here on Lotus.
Hey, Koala Noob came in. He said, I am the best operator player in this league, so I'm going to play the agent that gets free operator. Like, all right. It's not the most complex level of gameplay that they're looking to bring in, I don't think, but I actually don't mind that. I think the last comp they had I'll be honest, I hated it.
Yeah.
They had double walls, not a whole lot in terms of actual initiation. This, they brought back in the Fade. Hero's most played agent historically is actually Raze, even though maybe not at like the highest level. I don't mind it. I think there's much more potential, and if you've got to switch things up, why not go for something more aggressive? They have the players to do it, and Koala Noob, I think, has easily proven that he is someone that can go toe-to-toe with anyone in the server. Give him the weaponry to do so.
Not again seeing Navi go back to the drawing board, and like you said, not looking to do anything overcomplicated. Well, looking at the split from last game, it's probably a good thing to go that route. Nice opening by Batu through the wall. Obviously had the info from the drone, and now they've got the opening pick. Apeks looking to pick up the pace towards the A site, and filling in the space is Xiao. He's isolated though, nobody close by. Caught by the stun, but his smoke gives him a little bit of free space to play with, and he's ready for this backside wrap. Catching the first at least, but going down after. The spam through from Hero might just have recovered this.
And a solid reveal. I know Billy will be happy about that one. It's going to at least garner them an extra. But the spike in the meantime has gone back. In fact, it's going around the world, all the way towards that C site. The problem is, with Governor going down, they now sit with a disadvantage. Batu even trying to find a little bit back, does win the fight versus Ruxic.
Spike planted.
This is now a winnable position, even though the HP is very low for those Apeks players.
A stun coming back on for Malzy, and a flash as well with low HP in the 2v2. And the utility they have, it's difficult to run the clock down. They have some reactive utility for the deep control. Batu, he was looking for someone coming through spawn, but now has a chance to dive on them. They're not going to be caught by surprise, though. Navi covering all their bases. Malzy on the walk around. He might just have caught some beautiful timing. They're still expecting him to be down below, but the shot fired a little too early. Nice connection. And it was damn close in the end. 15 HP, but it's enough for Navi to take the pistol.
Yeah, nice try, but yeah, Navi will be the ones to get onto that board first. Even after a bit of a shaky start, it was just some solid utility to even things up, and then I think Angel being fairly patient, maybe realizing that they would have left somebody behind. There you go, yeah, just catching Governor in a pretty awkward position. I will say this is something we've seen before. Flashbacks to Fnatic. They have this youngster who we know is going to play the Sentinel. You put him on the Raze, it's insane. So I'm excited to see Hero play. I think putting someone like him in a more aggressive role is something that he's going to shine at. It's just whether or not that setup's there. Because I think that's what a lot of what the desk was saying, was that a lot of the supportive utility was just really messy last week from Navi. And when you go close with Fnatic on a map or two, choke a victory, there's definitely still some hope there. But Apeks looked great. Well, especially on Ascent, they look fantastic, so I definitely understand why it was banned.
Apeks using those pistols, the numbers to their advantage. They've already managed to overrun the site.
Spike planted.
20 HP left on Hero and some support coming in from Angel, but these are opportunities that Apeks are keen to capitalize on. Navi, they won the pistol by a narrow margin, but by a fairly wide one. They seem to be losing the follow-up. It's only Koala Noob remaining. And as strong as he may be, up or not, this one looks like it's too far gone. Salvos online for the post plant, time already ticking, and you know there's been some recovered weapons. We can see it's fluorescent with a Vandal, and yeah, that goes exactly as you'd expect. This looked like it could have been a nice start to Navi's map pick, but Apeks knocking on the door from round 2.
These are those sort of battles where you know your opponent's grouped up, and sure, you get a multi-spray down, you get your ult online, you're feeling fantastic, but instead, you take individual fights versus those 5 players rather than playing for the retake or falling back or using any of the utility you've saved up, and you end up looking incredibly foolish. For Apeks, this is a great start. Obviously, being able to bounce back, retrieve a free Vandal, I think at least, and a free Guardian, and then have your extra cash to purchase back up, well, probably couldn't be happier right now. And for Navi, on your own map choice, that's a pretty severe dent.
Oh yeah, maybe as well, thinking back on the previous games they've had, that could be a dent to the confidence. A few more will be needed to knock this squad down, we know that, but certainly early days. Alarm bells are ringing. Navi, obviously they've got themselves one rifle. The rest of the squad will just be playing with the pistols, and so they don't really have an ability to contest. that plant. Maybe even the hope now, as the spike goes down, that there's over-aggression, or that they can slip up behind. The latter is already being put to bed by Batu, breaking through this choke point. Well, apparently quite easy. Angels found Malzy for free, Heroes on for another, and there's some threat to this round. Has to be a recovery, and it looks like Fluorescence there for just that with a fade out on the TP. It's a double stack on down, and that spike, very difficult for Xiao to defuse. He had a chance, but Apeks, they hammer it home.
Yeah, end up just falling back. Make that one at least a little bit more costly, but ultimately, they had all the save cash from the last round where they win the second with nothing, so it's not going to do too much in terms of damage. And this is where we need to see the response from Navi, and immediately you are going to get that operator onto Koala. So this is where we kind of need to see the proof of this pick, because in terms of utility, well, there you go. You got. There it is.
Great. A little bit of defense. What we love to see, well, so long as Koala stays alive and within range. Moving up with the operator for now, securing a lot of control, but look at the information. Fluorescent is gaining great stun! The follow-up isn't there, though. Angel still able to connect the shot. In the meantime, though, the space has been taken on B, and Avova is creeping his way into the back lines of Navi. That's a danger for later on in the round. For now, he'll be trying to work space and link up with the rest of the squad. 3 players on the other side of the Viper wall, waiting to break through. They're aware, though, they've spotted Avova, and now he's in a lot of trouble, surrounded by players, taken down. Malzy, though, makes this again doable. He's very low on HP, though. The Governor's gonna have a lot of work cut out for him.
Already had problems because of the deep position of Koala. The stack up was available for Navi, able to take so much extra space. Trap still online, so they know that if there is anybody pushing, they're coming from that cross angle. Koala's just watching to see if anybody gets aggressive. Now knows that somebody is within the site, trapped in and just somewhat waiting for the peak. Hits the timing, and now only Governor stands to face versus 3.
All missiles away.
Big swing, lined up as well. Governor had a real opportunity. The 3K is denied, though, by the man with, well, you've heard about the big green gun elsewhere. He's got the big green dot on his rifle, and it's landed him. The round for Navi, and equalization as well early on needed for this squad.
I'm not sweating at all.
Not even close.
I feel like
Clean round win.
That's the main sort of like Navi characteristic over the last couple of years is they can never make anything look easy, other than of course the second half versus Liquid.
Right. Well, that was a targeted line. I would be the target of it. Appreciate that, Tom. No need to bring that right back up into my memory, but
hey,
right,
sorry, you got to cast Cadabra win at least.
I did, and that did make me very happy.
It's just Enzo who's cast.
And hype a little bit, I think. Sorry, boys.
Oh, an immediate aggressive attack towards C, but there is a split coming from behind. Well, it's only Angel to find absolutely anything here. Xiao on the site will be decimated, and yeah, Koala's just got to save. They have put everything into this round, only had one player surviving, of course, that was him, and he gave that extra gun over to a teammate. So financially, losing this round has put them in the bin. And obviously, again, we're still talking about that extra little financial boost that was there for Apeks after round number 2. They're still doing all right, and this 4-player, well, likely 4, maybe 1 less if somebody goes hunting,
That's a good spot.
will mean that they're right back in the thick of it again.
Control for Apeks early on, looking very good. Again, the real problem that they had in the previous round was all that control Koala Noob had. Like you said, Tom, Navi were able to group up, make those big rotations. They were also aware of the flank up from Avova. They also managed to catch Fluorescent coming out of ult, even stunned up. I think it was Angel connecting that shot. So there were a couple of things that went right for them, and it still ended up in that, well, it was a 1v3 turned 1v1. Now we see what happens when those boxes aren't ticked early on, and it's a clean win for Apeks. Again, early days, alarm bells are ringing. The scoreline may be close, but Apeks are the ones that are putting rounds on the board that when you look at them, it feels like they could do it again. They're repeatable rounds. For Navi, that's not the case, so I think it's a good time to sit back and think about how this map's been going so far before it gets too far out of hand.
It's been a quiet start for Brooksik, but a very, very early position in this series. Not too damning just yet, but Yeah, it definitely seems like the case. If Koala's not able to get himself into a position, it doesn't seem to work out. And this round was basically just a reactive play. Like the Rolling Thunder was thrown into that C site aggressively. They try and catch them from behind, but Apeks was so ready for it. And that's the sort of credit I want to give over to Apeks from watching their game last week. I think they had a lot of really cool setups, a lot of like great sort of utility usage, but I feel like they were also quite adaptable, which again, when you come in as one of the teams that obviously ascended, lost 2 of your players, arguably your best players, and then had to rebuild from there, and have then since had changes, I expect it to be shaky. I think Governor had a couple of rougher maps when playing that Teo. He started off great here, so definitely some solid signs. Even Floor was a little bit quiet as well, so you get both of those players on a par. I'll be honest, like it was argued on the desk, upset potential. I might even argue they come in as favorites.
I think I'd be with you. You know, looking back at some of the games that have happened already, there's question marks in my mind coming into today. A lot of those are on the side of Navi for now. Let's see if they found the solution, and well, that is not how you want that one to start. Koala Noob put to bed immediately, and they're left
with already gone.
Nothing. Yeah, indeed, that was their operator. Now you're left with the scraps. Hero at least has a Guardian, but already the advantage sitting firmly with Apeks to get themselves a plant, and the post-plant utility is incredibly strong. You've seen it before with the Viper, but having Governor soon-to-be set of utility alongside an ultimate online realistically shouldn't be needed in this round, but if it is, they've got that safety net to fall back on, and it's only Navi who are falling at the moment, 4v2.
Last player standing.
Expectation slim to none. Maybe a bit of a confidence boost for Ruxic if he can get on the board, but he cannot. And well, speaking of Molsey's Rolling Thunder that was used not long ago, he's over halfway to getting it back, so they're doing well to just collect those ultimate orbs, but more importantly, just farm up these plays. And this is the thing, again, I'm talking about adaptability. This team being able to sort of change what they're doing. They got caught up in a round by a very aggressive push-up.
It's the only thing he can do.
There you go. It's not even, that's the thing, it's not even the prediction coming from the IGL or someone making a read on the game. It's someone who's been over in Americas, been over in Pacific, and now come to EMEA, has the read on Koala.
Yeah, that is wonderful to see. And again, yeah, for Apeks, that's how it's felt. They know what's going on. And for Navi, they need a very strong opening hand to a round for them to have a chance. And even then, it comes down to the wire. We need to see a turnaround for Navi, and this is the round where you would see it. They said he can only do one thing. Well, if that was pushing up and holding with an op, he doesn't have that choice. Koala Noob forced down to the rifle. One away indeed from the ulti being pulled through, but he'll have to find that with by more conventional means. With a minute on the clock, it looks like he might get the opportunity, at least it did, but I see that spike slowly drifting backwards after the early space take.
Yeah, I think that's what Apeks are almost going for at this stage. Like, you look at your opponents having a duelist plus chamber, you know that the concept is going to be to try and get aggressive and find some of those opening picks. So if you don't spot anything on one side of the map, you're going to be a little bit wary that you've lost space elsewhere. It does mean that if your opponents play very passively, as Navi are right now, you are going to burn the clock quite low, looking for this aggression. And they've ended up finding it. The door opening, attempting to try and surround. Batu, it's huge though from Hero. That double drops the spike. They even had the cross coming through with the ultimate, so a problem, that Armageddon. Spike is going to be stolen. Not going to be able to be blocked. Fluorescent has done well. Koala is struggling at the moment, eliminated within that A site solo. And somehow this now comes down to a chance again for Apeks.
Tom, they were being played like a fiddle. Realistically, that B push saved the day. Xiao finding the pick outside C, got rid of a big danger, but still, the danger is lurking. Avova's being the standout player for Apeks in so many of these moments, and you talk about clutches. He is someone that's going to win his and shut yours down. A chance for Navi that's slowly fading away. They seem to have seized the day in this round, but instead, it was falling back into Apeks' hands. Now it's Avova who has to make good on his promise, and he will not find the clutch this time. Navi in with a defuse and a much-needed round win.
Yeah, again though, that comes down to two big individual plays. One of them is obviously that double that came through from Hero at the beginning. Like, the timing couldn't be any better. Your opponent has a stun out. But then the biggest is Xiao. Like, having a read that Fluorescent was still on the other side of that Cosmic Divide, otherwise you're getting backstabbed. And then having a read that the other player has also gone around to backstab you through the same Cosmic Divide. That's just Xiao having a solid read in this round. Talk about recreatable rounds, maybe not so much, but hopefully for Navi, that can be the sort of igniter. And more importantly, we always talk about if you can get like a decent amount of rounds on that defensive side and go into attack, you're not going to mind too much how you do it.
And even, I'll say those were the second and third big plays from Xiao. Him catching the lurk outside C as well. If that corner isn't cleared, if he rotates more passively, this round falls apart as they are able to embed someone in the back lines. Apeks, they had their opportunities, they didn't connect them, but the credits are sitting pretty, even after an investment right here. That jump peak saves the bait. Well, it saved the round, perhaps. Certainly saved the opening pick. Koala, though, will be resetting, and he's on his way to the C site.
Yeah, they jump one side, peek the other to give Batu a chance, expecting that aggression. There goes the tour de force. Offline for at least a few seconds. There has, however, been a response with the Nightfall. That would delay them a little bit. You lose your sound, you lose some of your health. You're not really going to be wanting to try and blitz in. The thing is, though, after expending utility that direction, it's left a pretty hefty opening. With a showstopper online for Hero, I wouldn't mind just seeing a retake play from Navi. They are very quickly hightailing it over towards this A site, though.
You're seeing salvos go down now. Navi should know their
30 seconds left.
window should have closed in terms of taking the site control. I see the smoke down on the right, and there it is. The Viper's Pit in play, safely deployed. Good spam, but the return is there right away. And the problem will be rooting these players from that position. Showstopper, one of the best chances they have, and it's fired in blindly, not landing, not finding its mark. And this is the thing, there is no need for Batu to take any of these fights, especially in Tree. You know your back is secure, and there's plenty of friendlies to take that fight up front. Apeks are shredding them. And well, if you want to counter to that big old gun, having to fight through a pit is going to make it pretty difficult to use the tour de force. Koala almost falls on his way back and knows he has to fight to keep that weapon, a fight he does not win. And Apeks, they maintain their lead, extending up to a two-man gap.
Ah, for sure. It is 5-3 in the lead. Again, I think it's the mid-rounding that just looks better from them at this stage. Realizing after the Nightfall goes through over on that C site that, okay, we have lost a huge amount of ground here. It's not worth just sprinting into the site and re-hitting it. Let's go all the way back around to the other side of the map. And yeah, there hasn't been a lot of resistance on it. I think the only round was obviously the pistol and then the retake that we had basically from Xiao. Other than that, it has been a very, very comfortable take of that A site. And one man that we sort of highlighted the agent choice, an agent that allows him to, especially on defense, should allow him to pick up quite a lot of numbers. Koala's been having a really rough time.
It's been a good read from Apeks as well. A couple times now you've seen Koala group with the team. That means that your flank protection, your player that's usually holding that choke point alone, isn't there anymore. Barely making it around the corner against those classics. They didn't expect Navi to go quite so gung-ho into the angles, but it's worked out wonderfully for Apeks anyways. A 3v1, Xiao the last man standing, and a guaranteed plant and an orb to be claimed. This will be 6 rounds unless there's a big play from Xiao. From there already, big numbers on that attacking side with no signs of slowing. A full buy for Navi in the next, but when you look at ult economy, which is something that I would say they almost need, you certainly want to have on your side at this stage of the game, there's nothing to fall back on. They're going to have to do it with the rifles. Again, we fall back to Xiao in this 1v3, but it looks incredibly unlikely.
Well, they're also just so patient. Are they not overfacing, not taking risks? The post plant normally also has those salvos available. This time doesn't, but it's basically just, okay, let's make sure that Xiao doesn't even get an opportunity. Apeks looking like a well-oiled machine the second they get that plant down. And again, like you look at the composition that is there for Navi, they actually do have quite a good comp for disrupting a team from getting into those post plants. They just haven't. Like, they've been losing pretty much, I would say, almost every opening duel, at least most of them. I think, again, you talk about Koala, like, he has been countered. He's been caught every single time that they've attempted these sort of plays. And I think also just, I want to talk about basics. Trading, I think Apeks have been so much better.
100%. The fundamentals just look better on their side, and that might not be a map-specific thing, especially with this being Navi's choice. You have to wonder what awaits us when we move to Haven for Apeks. Already gotten rid of some of that early aggression, or some of the danger of it, I should say, with Fluorescent so aggressively pushed up. Navi fill in the space after, but it's nothing but dubs for their side. Every fight going their way, and the spike left in the dirt. Apeks wanted that robo control. Think about it in an unusual way, still being in that choke point by the time Navi pushed through, despite having Fluorescent up so far. And it looks like they're paying the price with this round set to fall into the hands of Navi.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch of Angel and Rooksix should get the job done, unless the jiggle's just off timing. And well, it was almost there for a second, I believed, but 3 players alive, definitely the cleanest round I think we've seen from Navi so far, and I don't mind it. Like, it is, again, it's something, just a call. Like, okay, let's 4-player push up, let's go for those clears, let's take the early fights. Hero doing well in those battles, and that said, I had high expectations of him on the Raze. I think he's been decent. I think we've seen why they're happy to put him over on that duelist rather than having that additional sentinel. Also, we're very happy to play the retake over on the other side of the map, just leaving Shao there to basically try and play 1 pick and then having the trap to hold on to B. That's more of the stuff I actually kind of want to see from Navi, because I think that's sort of the thing that's been odd, is like you go back to FPX, you go back to even old Navi teams, and they would run some comps that are outside the meta. But you could always see the idea, you could always see the synergy, and you could always see how they could make those crazy ideas work. I think in the last maybe 6 months to a year, that's not been the case. Either they played default stuff and just not as well as everybody else, or like the last time they played Lotus, they played wacky stuff and you couldn't find where it was supposed to work. This comp, I can see it. It's just been very hit and miss.
Yeah, and I think, you know, looking at the default comp perspective as well, like it's not something that you can't do. It's just that you have to do it perfectly. If everyone comes in knowing your objectives, your strengths, your weaknesses, how your comp works and breeds on the map, then your fundamentals have to be perfect, and you better execute it without any errors. And once the errors are there, people will quickly recognize what they are and how to exploit them, because they've seen it a million times. That's what you study, are those basics. And for Navi, you say, you know, they'll come through sometimes and try something new, but then you almost wish it was back to basics at those times. So see how this goes. So far, it's been a round for Navi, 2 for Apeks. The pattern has been there quite a while. We'll see if they can break it. Coming into the close of the half, 6-6 still possible. Deep Yoru ult, and they will fall back from the C site completely. A free plant, and this is the thing for Apeks. If that plant goes down, it is so difficult to take that round. So much time is taken off the clock just by the utility in play. They'll instead try to get ahead of it, trap these players on the site, and fight them here and now before they can retreat, but that doesn't seem to be going well. A dominant performance from Apeks, and in a 2v4 now, what's the decision? You could see a world where they go and save, but still pushing forward.
Poison all going down. It is the call to leave. Definitely a moment or two where I didn't mind, again, Navi trying to get ahead of the play, trying to get back into the site, but it definitely seemed like more of a raw push attempted. I think a paint shell thrown into that backline. Just, as I said, once the plant goes down, it seems like there's going to be a solid hold. Malzy attempting to try and hunt that down. I'll also say as well, like, Navi got rid of, in my mind, the one massive danger, which was, if you got rid of Governor, that was the Armageddon gone, because he got it online from the death.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to matter in the end.
The other thing is Malzy's the guy going aggressive. Yeah, he's 13-6 at the time, so he thinks, sure, I can go take him down, rob him of a few weapons, but more importantly, that death, had he have gotten a pick first, that put him 1 away from a Rolling Thunder. So now big ultimates with a little bit of ground take, with an orb seized, you can have not only Governor, but Malzy online with their ultimates as well. Now that's going to be a terrifying prospect to play against. A technical pause in here for just before the final round of the half. It might even give the players a moment to take a breath, take a breather. For Navi, they certainly need it. It has been a feast of breadcrumbs for this squad. 1 round scattered throughout a sea of Apeks victories. If they close this out 8-4 as well, Tom. I mean, I know it's a different composition than last time, but Navi looked a lot worse on the attack against KC before. But with the comp they had, they should have.
I'm not so worried about that because you didn't actually have real initiate utility. Like you had no duelist in the last comp, and they didn't have the Fade. They only had Teo, so it meant that they had a singular drone to get them info. So, well, actually, and the Vice Flash, yes. They had the Vice Flash for attack info. Yeah, so I think this composition definitely works. Honestly, like, although I think if you looked at this half as a whole, if it ends 7-5, I think Navi are fine. Like, it's very much workable. I think they'll still have this sort of lurking Koala just to basically stop them from getting aggressive. He can still buy the operator and basically hold down sections of the map. It's not impossible. It's just the manner in which a lot of these rounds have gone. Like, you're talking about, okay, the hero got a multi-frag this round. Okay, they had a really aggressive defensive side round, but the actual holds have looked weak and their retakes have not looked good either. So I'm thinking they need that fifth. And then you even consider if they'd won the second round, we could be talking about them being level at this stage, which doesn't feel just when you look at the half has gone.
I mean, but if you look back at that, sure, like the pistol was a gap of 15 HP. The next round that Navi won was a 1v3 that was flipped into a 1v1 and needed Koala Noob to hit one of his 3 shots that he's landed this half.
That was needed.
No, it wasn't, but it still happened. And I think especially looking at Koala, this is a player that has been the standout for Navi. Yes. And of course, the duelist here, the Raze in particular, somewhere that he has had all that success, goes to Hero, so different role in how they're playing.
And the self-proclaimed best operator player.
Well, that's where it gets a little, just a little salt in the wound on that one. But it is, I think for Apeks, like, it feels like they've got full control, and that if we are to go down and look back at rounds and go, well, what if that went the other way? Most of those rounds that I think of as being on a knife's edge would be the ones that landed in Navi's camp anyway. So this seems like they've got 4 that they've barely managed to claim, scattering them throughout, no consecutive wins. And also 4 that if we ran the end of those rounds back again, not sure that they'd win all 4 of them. Maybe I'd give them 2.
I'll have to wait and see if they can claim that final round of the half. Operator back into the hands of Koala. One off a showstopper as well for Hero. It's not the worst case scenario. Buying a throwaway Odin. That's a... I'm not sure, does that make you happy or sad? Is it happy that they buy it, but then they have to throw it away?
It makes me happy because it means that they're acknowledging the power of it, but it's a financial issue, you know? Like, it's a great piece of utility, but maybe they're not confident on using it to entry. That's really on them. A little aggression from Navi that we've seen before, and Apeks already on that learning curve that they've stepped back. They've conceded that space. Last time Navi went for this hard A push with lots of players outside A, Apeks ran into it and got destroyed. That shot from Koala Noob a little early, and it's not going to find its mark. Of course, he risked being caught by that drone if he stuck around, so he had to TP out. That's why he just fired the shot, just in case someone rounded the corner.
They've done really well with the drone as well. Like, the amount of times that he's been in aggressive position has been completely caught out. Still, though, the defense have full coverage. 45 seconds left. B has the trap. You also have the operator still facing in that direction, and while the Rolling Thunder is going to be utilized, but as you said, this is all a ruse, and in fact, it's worked perfectly. We've seen Ruxic TP to the other side of the map. Showstopper is going to be popped, though. It's an attempt to try and dance out of there for Hero, but although he goes down, that's actually not bad. He has bought extra time.
It felt like this was the best opportunity for Navi with a conventional A, hold a player up on Ruppel. They had in fact, the showstopper, obviously, they had a huge chance to catch that A push, but they second-guessed themselves. And of course, with the Rolling Thunder on C, you expect that they're committing. Batu's being caught. Navi on this slow walk, the train arriving on the A site, and Apeks in trouble. Armageddon put into play. It forces Ruxic forward. Angel goes back. They're not on the same page, and they'll pay the price for it with inefficient trades. The salvos were there as well, just to make it turn from bad to worse, keeping them on the other side of the smoke. Of Ova with another, but he's still got 2 more to pick up. They're dancing through that smoke. Of Ova takes Koala Noob. That was so desperately close, but in the end, enough time on the clock for Navi to push up to 5. It's nowhere near as bad as it could have been coming out of that defensive half.
Yeah, it's not a clean round, but it is a round nonetheless. And yeah, going into it with 5 defensive rounds, I think they'll take that one. Nonetheless, we're going to have to wait and see what they can pull off going into that second half.
Welcome back, folks. 7-5. It's been a bit of back and forth. Despite Navi being off to a bit of a shaky start, they've managed to scrounge together enough rounds to make this look doable moving on to the attack. An attack where previously they won 1 out of 7 rounds up against KC in kickoff. But again, with this composition, I don't foresee them having as much trouble. But with the performance so far, Tom, there's definitely some problems lurking in the darkness. We'll see if they come to light for Navi, or if this can be a return to form here on the attack side.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think when you had that sort of 4-player aggressive take on the defense, it looked a lot better than anything else they were doing. So that's kind of the expectation here, is that you will have these group ups of 4 and then leaving Koala hold on to positions. For now, though, they're actually going to aggressively fight forward. It's not the worst start, but Governor able to get to a good stun coming out of the Apeks side of Over, realizing that this is not worth fighting anymore. You already have the player advantage, and just wanting to try and retreat.
Yeah, it was definitely the right call there. I don't doubt Avova that much in duels, but there's no point in risking it around Mound. You've already got that advantage, and you can put a smoke down, and you can see the effect it has. Navi stopped completely in their tracks around Mound.
I think there's a magnet on Koala where the Jarge is like, I'm gonna get you. Like just following him around the map. I think he's had to shoot it every single round. Governor really is in his head.
Fluorescent, nicely done. The blast pack in from Hero, but Fluorescent didn't take the bait. Dealing with the problem of Xiao first, and well, that's enough flashes. That's not something that Navi could have imagined in the last time they played this map.
The thing I love that is we have the POV of Governor shooting there. I only realized it afterwards. It's like, pew, 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 and then Fluorescent's killing everyone. Like, yeah, I got them all, I got them. Oh, why didn't my kills go up?
Our upper's dead, buddy, locked in.
Well, it doesn't matter. They're locked in nonetheless. Apeks with a pistol under their belt. But hey, Navi saw the exact same fate. They found a pistol, but then they lost the follow-up. Perhaps they can look for the same success. Now, I think Apeks are not giving up A main in quite the same way that their opponents were, looking to battle for it a bit more, a bit much perhaps from Fluorescent, but that's because the gate crash was online. They've got their info early that there's players outside A, but they seem to think that it could be a bit of a fake, a bit of a maneuver from the Navi squad. They might even be right.
The thing is, there's so little to play with in this round. I also say that the way that that second round was lost in the first half was maybe some of the Navi players slightly overfacing. I don't think we've really witnessed that at all from Apeks. They've been looking much more synergized in terms of their play, and there we go again. I'm telling you, the drone is tracking only Koala. Set to the wrong sort of animal.
Well, I think as well, though, you know, he's the guy that's always going to be holding that gap of space, an absence of info, and of course that's where you send your drone in. The problem is, because they saw him, that they think that it could still be that A hit. You've seen Viper rotate over just in case, knowing that there was just one, but with the wall still available, and the information coming at a much heavier cost than I thought it would. Governor's being eliminated immediately, and now this is fairly similar to what we saw from Navi. One player on the site can't afford to be isolated, but does delay them slightly with the util. Navi, 15 seconds left. The spike is coming out the door. Where's the spike going? If they picked it off, that could be the round done and dusted, but instead, Navi walks straight into an open B. It's a risky play, but it seems to have worked out.
Also with the pistols, the B site is so much better for them. They can get in these close range angles. They can play that post plant nicely, although not having a mass amount of utility. The boom bot, a paranoia is not bad. Trap yet to be utilized, but not wanting to give away the positions. Everything here comes down to that time. A chance for Hero to find some damage, but not expecting the second player to be here. Koala as well, still having a bullet or two left, but already somebody on the defusal. They need to get in there, and soon, and it's not going to be soon enough. What could have been a dangerous round. Of course, I'm watching Angel go for a knife. I'm going to assume he ran out of bullets.
Yeah, probably. Well, they were spamming a bit. I mean, it's possible, just unlikely. 9-5. Apeks do well to find that, but that was actually quite nice from Navi. Just pure chaos, the way they play the A main, go back to C, go back to A, and then route their way into tree And with 15 seconds left, open the door and run back to the B side. Again, huge risk. And it didn't work out in the end, but you can see the idea, and you can see that had Apeks have chosen different routes back into the site,
Was it a plant and 2 kills?
Yeah.
With just classics, that's not bad.
It's better than the expectation coming into the round, so
100%.
yeah, they've done a good job. Problem is, 4 rounds behind, and if they don't win this round, then all that good work goes out the window.
Yeah, especially with the weaknesses here and there. Governor going to be left on just the pistol. In fact, doesn't even have any shields alongside. It really is saving for a rainy day, and this is where the rifle's fully online. The one interesting thing is if this comes to a late round, maybe a post plant, that dimensional drift is available for Fluorescent. The chance for her to get her team the info if they're in a winnable spot. I don't think you're going to see that ultimate thrown in just for fun, but with how much aggression she's already got on the A site and the look that it's going to be a C site hit, the 2 players there are going to have to do a lot of work, although the snakebite timing has maybe made probably second guess things a little. Maybe it should. There's quite a few players here now.
They've picked up the first, not ready for Governor perhaps, but Hero is on the ball. They're not spotting Avova though. The double kill has put Apeks in a decent spot considering the round that they're in. An outlaw in play, but everyone's 150 full shields. And, well, the weapon not reloaded on the peak is probably the biggest issue of all. Fluorescent, well, now it comes down to tidying up. It's housekeeping. Can they pick up 1 or 2 extra kills? The round looks quite difficult to find, and indeed they've got a beautiful little stack up. The flash will not catch them either. 2 players in water hiding behind the walls, very aware of what was about to come around that corner.
Yeah, decent. Decent from the side of Navi. Because as I said, a lot of those rounds have been messy even towards the end. I was looking at Fluorescent, who's currently 16-9, going up into a 1v3, and there was still a part of me that thought that maybe she could take it over the line. But this is the thing. They are now going to go in with full rifles, dimensional drift still available, not utilized in the last round, and a chance to
Cutting through.
put Navi onto their backside with not a whole lot of extra left to play with. An aggressive stance as well, running full sprint all the way up. The problem is, to do that with 3 players and still have a player on B, you don't have that traditional sentinel, means the A site is quite open.
There.
Pressure applied there early, but now players making it to the door. That wall's soon to fall. That's going to open up a window for them, and it's free. Angel caught off guard. The ultimate by Fluorescent used to more or less keep herself alive and confirm that information. At least 2 spotted. Good idea about the extra. Great stun. Not such a great follow-up, though. Navi. Oh, that's a heaven sent of a round for them. We're back into winnable territory. 1 picked off on the cross, though. Rooksik, 11 HP, and Hero on 66. But he lands a headshot that turns the tide right back in their favor. Showstopper already online before that kill. And now, well, that will be a beautiful safety net, maybe even used here just to close it out. This is Avova after all.
Stopper popped immediately. This is just for time. Just to try and bait the opponent, and he's just going to go jumping straight through. Okay, it needed to be incredibly quick reactions from Avova to get that one, but a solid round from Hero. As I said, I think whatever expectations you had from Navi coming into the map, seeing him on a duelist, I was always thinking there would be big things. Second top fragger in the server at the moment, second only to Fluorescent, which I think that's acceptable when you've been playing Sentinel for about a year.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Good shit.
It's good to see that Koala's still in high spirits. I think that is the thing I really like about Koala, is even if he is not having the best of games, it still seems like you'll cut to the cams and the vibes are still there. That's something he's brought over from Americas, I feel. I don't know if the EMEA guys are quite as positive as well. Clearly you need to pump up Hero more if he's going to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, keep it up, whatever just happened. That is a wonderful opening. Blast pack into just a dry swing on Governor, who has no idea what's coming. Weaker weapons indeed, and, well, they had no chance in that duel, as we can say for Fluorescent and Avova. A quick shutdown on the redirect to the C site. Navi find themselves walking into an open site. Well, depending on how quickly they get there, Batu has rotated in. The last remaining player for Apeks in this round. Claiming this would be something he looks back on for many years to come, but an in-zone flawless in the stars for Navi. 1 round behind now. Very nicely recovered from this squad, who seemed to just be clawing for any foothold in that first half. Now they very much got their act together.
Seems like put the guy from the Turkish league back on Duelist. Good strat.
Not bad.
Good strat.
Not bad. Top fragging now.
Took that one straight out of the Fnatic handbook. Funnily enough, their opponents also did it for a game with Batu, so we've seen this one before. But no, Hero's having a fantastic game. Batu's just spotted a sneaky Ruxic, maybe trying to get into the backline or at least trying to sell the idea. This is a ruse, by the way. Hero, who has been the star of the show the last couple of rounds, is tempting to try and sell the idea of a fake. You have to bear in mind, though, Fluorescent is waiting and watching. Well, that immediate pick-off. The problem now is that the fake has done better than the take.
Drone is down.
I mean, little do they know, the take actually worked wonderfully. You sacrifice a player and that whole half of the map is wide open, but you'd be foolish to go running in as if that were the case. They don't know that the gate crash was used towards the C site. They don't know that only now has that op rotated back into the A site. So they've taken their time waiting for opportunities. Those opportunities never came. So they step up. I will say, risky to shift walk up in this space where they know there was an op before, and with Governor waiting eagerly for Heroes roundabouts, there will be no flank. It all comes down to the site take, and it looks like they're moving towards B. It's probably better to avoid the operator.
30 seconds left.
Let's see if they have a better time against Batu.
Batu seems well aware of this potential. It's whether or not they could maybe spot an angle from above. Missed shot. That was an opportunity, and now with the remaining players still having that Armageddon online, this is a seemingly an easy setup. Not even going to use it. Salvo's attempted to at least try and chunk a bit of damage. I believe that Xiao did take a slight hit, and then the patience from Fluorescent has put Navi back into a horrible position. But here comes Xiao. He's been a little bit quiet, tried his best to bring that round back. But it's not going to be the case. Apeks will hit Tem first. But luckily for Navi, they kept those last few rounds relatively clean, Mitch, so they'll buy.
Yeah, at least able to afford an investment out of this, and certainly not lost yet. That's just one little hiccup, but they managed to put 3 rounds in a row on the board. A repeat of that would be wonderful, and that's exactly what they're going to come in looking for, calling a timeout here to touch base with Happy, with their coaching staff. See if they can find an easy solution to some of these problems. But here on the attack, it hasn't looked that terrible. I think the fact that Fluorescent finds an opening pick and is able to escape out is just the nature of that operator and that Yoru. And the fact that they move back towards A after the plant, and that's where Angel gets caught out, isn't ideal either. Those 2 op shots landing, I think, made the difference in this round, and especially with a big performance by Xiao on the site. There's definitely some hope to draw from that. In the first half, I was certain this was going to look a lot more dominant, just because of how strong Apeks were playing, and now, honestly, it felt like Navi were getting a little lucky in some of the rounds they were winning. This time, I don't think that's the case. They've earned that early contention in the half, but they still have to make up for that gap in rounds from the first.
Yeah, and it's also now, I don't mind the pause here, coming in from Happy, an attempt to talk through with the squad. Like you said, the deep playing operator, it kind of solved the whole idea was to basically try and push all of these players over to the C site. But when you have that operator from Fluorescent, she can hold across so many different angles that just mean that you have to either be very pacey with it or you still have to use utility. So I can't expect that we're going to see those same sort of ruses attempted by the side of Navi. And then coming into this round, a couple of ultimates incredibly close being online. Again, we're going to see this aggressive push up, an immediate usage of that Armageddon, trying to force them into the hands of Avova, and that's exactly what they've done. Angel's not going to survive it. It all hinged on a kill coming out from Hero. Xiao has at least got rid of Fluorescent, though. The trap for them when they went back has been dealt with.
I love how optimistic Angel is that maybe they wouldn't have put the ult all the way into the corner.
You don't have anywhere else to go at that point.
Yeah, it was run into the choke point with the spike was an opportunity, but yeah, they might have been a bit more annoyed if you'd done that. At least it's retrievable and found by Navi with a slow shift up. Clearly Apeks not expecting them to still commit to this angle, and Avova's the one to find the info, at least gets a paranoia out of them. So somewhat less utility for Navi to work with, but post-plant Astra can still do quite a lot.
plan is here. So you have that Cosmic Divide available.
You are divided.
That is going to be used. Trying to keep a couple of pockets of space. Try and use that surprise element. Could make things that little bit more awkward. Obviously that time is already ticking and Koala's been forced off the angle back into the salvos. In fact, he's going to go down to a snake bite. It's pure utility. Xiao looks for a gap and instead is found by an opponent. Although that time is ticking, Rooksik can only get one. Solid trading, but more importantly, solid utility usage from the side of Apeks. I think it was 2 kills in that round came back off an ult and off just util alone.
Yeah, they've done really well. Batu in particular, I know it's easy when he picks up the 3K, but the way that he does it, that choke point was being watched. They had Xiao hiding inside, waiting for the steps to be made. Yeah. Well, that one was doomed from the start. But the snake bite, I didn't realize he was that low. Not ideal. Hidden inside the smoke. It's like a trap.
That was the thing. They forced him into that position because of where the salvo was and because where other utility was thrown, and then he just steps back into it. So a bit of an error, but also there wasn't really any space that Koala could go back into. Viper's Pit immediately utilized outside of C. Now they do have the Nightfall and the Showstopper. So if they wanted to clear this, they could. It seems like the plan instead maybe to go back towards B.
Nightfall can be very effective here as well if they decide to deploy it. Looks like just a straight push in with the Showstopper. Hero chasing them down. Stuns caught him. Governor's not gone terribly far, but I think he'll be safe there. Depends how deep Hero put that shot, and indeed he's lost a lot of HP, but survives on 50.
Blocking vision.
Good start. Look at this late lurk by Xiao. They're already retaking control towards the broken door. If Xiao can creep up, I think he'll be a little late though. Apeks moving somewhat quicker than their opponents might expect them back into this retake.
The thing is they've got like a double lurk, an aggressive play. Hero ends up taking out his IGL, removing him from position, but it's fine. Ends up trading out those remaining spots, and I actually really like that post plant from Navi. I think the fact that they don't just sit back and allow their opponents to retake, they leave Koala deep towards B main, they leave another player out towards A main, wrapping in behind, but they realize, okay, if we just stay on the site, we can still be surrounded from all the other angles, so they use that Nightfall in towards their opponent's spawn, and that's where they end up finding the value. Sure, might look a little bit silly, but I think, again, it's just Angel trying to be as disruptive as possible and give his teammates a good opportunity.
Yeah, I was worried that would be the first domino. I mean, he was a bullet away from taking down Governor, so fair play for just standing in it. Took one for the team. Now opens up onto Fluorescent. You have to note that Apeks don't have a lot invested into this round. That gap between them and Navi likely to close in. We've seen them juggle the weapons right back. Weapon that was dropped will be at least kept, or rather stolen, I suppose, by Navi. No way for Apeks to claim that back without a very deep push indeed. Already down to a 3 versus 5. 2 players on the B site, but not going to be close enough to cause any damage. And you can see the respect they give that orb, just scared a snakebite would come in and steal the round away. With Batu's utility so far, I think that's a fair risk assessment.
Well, it's also that you run through a poison orb, and on the other side, someone has an SMG, even a pistol, a shotgun. Like it can be incredibly rough. Governor
missiles away.
at least managed to find one. The salvos will give him a 1v1 fight, but wasn't expecting Xiao to be that far forward. And with the spike now making its way to the back of site, don't really see any real opportunities. Of course, Batu with a gun in hand. They had 2 for this round. One of them was Fluorescent dying within the first 5 seconds or so, just attempting something incredibly aggressive.
They're going to look for the other weapon.
Yeah, I think that has been juggled very far away, but Mosey doesn't really have anything to lose.
Where's that rifle? Yeah, I think he's so stunned. Like, where did it go? It fell through the floor? Call a pause.
I like the idea that
just juggled it back.
Fluorescent is going, no, that's where I went down. That's right there, right there.
You open?
And then Mosey's going, it's not here. Not here. Where? Right there. Look again. Look again.
Oh, I like the stun. Trying to keep them contained. Oh, there's the rifle, but no chance to run away.
Boom.
The spike will claim him. And an assist for Chamber as well. Koala will be happy with that little stat padding. 1 round between them. Navi, they really came in on shaky foundations. That first half, it looked like it could have went either way. And if it went the other way, it would have been Apeks already closing this out. But now, 1 round behind, and the attack side looking good. That's 5 out of 7 rounds have gone their way, and I don't think there's been anything like insane that we look at and go, there's no way they could do that again. They've got a very well-rounded attack side on display, and it's Apeks stalling out. They've called a timeout to hopefully pull them out of this tailspin.
Yeah, I think Koala's had a decent resurgence. Like I said, it'll be about those lurks and holding down any aggression that can be thrown through. And you kind of have that expectation when your opponent is running this Breach, Teo, Yoru. You want to try and have set plays. You have all the pieces to get yourself information and then set up into something. Well, if your opponent is holding angles with an operator, you can't do that as much. You have to know exactly where they are. And well, so far, I think Koala's been quite dynamic. The other factor has to be, though, that it does seem like, well, Hero, Xiao, Angel have all been having a solid game. Hero especially. As I said, it's been quite a while since we've really expected this guy to be playing a duelist, but it's good to see that it doesn't look like there's any rust there whatsoever. Up there, top fragger within the server, and I guess the main sort of difference here, and probably one of the reasons why Apeks have timed this ball so well, is they come in with 3 ultimates. 2 of them can be combined together, especially alongside those salvos. So I have high expectation that Apeks are not just going to be sitting back this round.
Well, it's good to see Heroes manage to shake off that rust coming into round 22. Let's see if Navi can paint the scoreboard red with another. It's Hero lighting up the kill feed, and Malzy again, same position as before. He's able to somehow around A main, attack or defensive side. They lose opening duels. It looks like it's slipping away, and he's the one to step up and put that performance through. Got his Rolling Thunder as a result, but also went down. So that'll be for a future round. 3v3, and the pressure onto Fluorescent, not with an operator either. So those headshots might be necessary as they cross out, and it's a clean opener.
She's done her job. Just needed to get the pick and get out of there. Good opportunity still for a post plant, and HP already low. I feel like there was a temptation from Koala to attempt to get a little bit more aggressive here. Dimensional Drift is going to give them every single piece of information they could ever need, and actually they're walking towards of over. This could be perfect. Has that paranoia, immediate usage of the utility, and going to try and go for the knife. Doesn't quite manage to get that pick though. Still standing as Ruxic, trying to dance within the smoke, so will not survive any longer. Again, solid support utility. Apeks now 1 round away from taking their opponent's map choice and going over to Haven.
Yeah, no matter what you can say, Navi, they look a whole lot better. The work they've put in, the rethinking of how they approach this map, even just from the get-go in terms of the agent comp that they've brought to bear, it looks so much better than it did before.
The problem though is...
Not sure what that was.
I think, I have a feeling the governor thought Fluorescent got that knife and has got a little bit overexcited, but I appreciate the support governor gives to his teammate Fluorescent again. Maybe a little bit unlucky not to get to the re-swing. Definitely feeling confident in her ability. Well, maybe a little bit too confident. Even still though, Hero lost, Xiao trades. It's back to a 3v3. Spike on the B site, but you have to bear in mind that they're taking their time. Cosmic Divide utilized once again just to make sure they can get safely into that post. Oh, maybe not.
Again, man, Malzy's had a great game.
That's
such high impact kills.
Divide.
Yeah, it is. It's not fantastic as the strategy goes, but this is the Brimstone main that's known for just the same kind of play. Ruxic is in a smoke. They haven't seen him, but they are shredding him. The knife attempt again. This time it's Batu, and it's the utility to claim the kill. Ruxic last alive, and the spams give him away. A clean response from Apeks. 13-10. This was their opponent's map pick, and they came in looking strong. A resurgence from Navi in the second, but not quite enough. They'll need the reverse sweep starting on Haven, starting on Apex's map pick, and starting after the break.
Oh, I have player cards now. Bro, it's been 4 years. I finally got player cards.
Oh yeah, me too. Bro, look at my card. Look at my card.
Yo, Batu.
Oh. I'm freaky today a bit, you know.
1, 2.